when you were younger and you picked the wrong guys that you now know in hindsight weren't good for you, there were good guys there the whole time. They were legit nice dudes. There's a segment of black men,
That's a good point,
who actually do like and love black women. A lot of men are seeing there's a huge pool of men that don't qualify for you. You're not interested in them. You're not checking for them. You want the guy that's fun, that's charismatic, that the other women also want. You all don't know what it's like to not be accepted from 18 to 28.
Oh, how you gonna say
What
that?
I mean by that is all of you will get attention from men. And unless you all have never been in relationships before, you don't know what it's like when it comes to never being desired. What you learn and find out later on, after your teens and potentially your 20s, and how long it takes before you fall off, is that your options start to decline. There are men that never had options
to begin with.
This entirely different frame of reference.
I grew up in Tampa, right? I grew up in Tampa. Still, again, now it's the black people still not liking the other black people to the point where now the black people are dating white people. I used to date white people, and it was okay because I didn't have a choice because all the black people liked the white people. And I'm not like, it's just like, I've noticed like with, it's more of like an American thing. So you keep saying white, but you just said you like a girl that's black and she was in Paris, so she's from South Africa or wherever you said she was from. So the question, it's not about the race at this point. Now it's about the culture.
Yeah, it's
because
the
you
culture.
like black women, you just don't like American black women. And
But
there's a big difference.
that's pretty much.
Let me explain this real quick. What's sad is that she's trying to say that black men don't like black women, but she's only giving experiences to the black guys that she probably even see and look at. A large majority of women don't even know this majority of black. The average guys out there, they don't get looked at. And so for her to, it's sad that we have this notion that black men don't want to be with a black woman, which is crazy. But all these black women got black guys around them that they don't even pay attention to. They don't even exist to them.
All right, so I heard like 10 different things going on between the men and women, and I'm going to try my best based on what I heard and key points that I took away from what a lot of you were stating, and then what I think is probably going on. You said an excellent point, and your point about the tolerance factor, the acceptance factor. I don't think you all realize how significant that is when you were younger and you picked the wrong guys that you now know in hindsight weren't good for you. They were good guys there the whole time. They were legit nice dudes.
Facts.
What I just said.
Corny, lame,
Nerds.
That
was me.
Guys that were still students.
But you don't want to.
Yeah, but hold on, just to clarify, for every man that you picked, there was a man you didn't, right? So just peep and catch that for a second. For every man that you picked, there was a man that you omitted, right?
Or 50.
Right, or 50, to be fair, right? So when you're expecting men that you didn't want,
It's crazy.
that you didn't take, that you didn't go out with, to wait around to when you may feel like dating them. What human being deserves to live like that?
They look at us like animals. They don't even look at us as human half of the time. They think it's okay for a man to just sit around, take the abuse, take all the disrespect, and then pick you up later on down the line when you're not even the same woman that I knew you from when I actually wanted you. So why, back then y'all didn't want me, now I'm hot, y'all all on me. Why do I want y'all now? Come on now, I got at least 10 right now I could double back on. Man, I don't want your tired ass, I'm good. Why? I could save your life if I wanted to. But you didn't want me at my low point, so why would I give you any at my high point? Come on, y'all.
There's a segment of black men,
That's a good point,
who actually do like and love black women, wanted them. I went to school with them, and I'm going to give you an example from y'all going to hate me now, of how horrible I was back in the day in my prime. When I was in college, me and my very, very small cohort of guys that was going to a predominantly white institution, a PWI, we ran the school. We ran the school. We ran all up and through the school. All right?
Another thing we got to stop doing in the black community is the symptom of exaggeration. I'm just playing. Let's continue.
So for every woman and we were sharing the same women. We didn't realize it. We learned out later on when we talked. Yo, you messed around with so and so. Oh shit! So what we learned and observed, there were hundreds of guys that were going to the school we was going to, taking the classes we were going to, and they kept coming back to the very guys that wasn't even being in commitments, wasn't even locking it down. So. What's his name? The football player that everybody's wondering about, Travis.
Oh yeah, he's.
This is an excellent example.
He's cooked
of how everybody knows the story. Everybody's talking about the warning, but nobody's talking about all the women that didn't want him until they learned of his name.
Yeah, but they still don't want him.
So what I'm saying is
they still don't want him.
So they want what he got, right? But the point I'm making is, a lot of women. Dr. Umar, who's going through his own challenges right now. He brought up a key point about the finish line. That when you were in high school, if you did go to college, there was an opportunity when you all can choose. Your father's not picking your partner. It's sexual liberation. You could pick your own partners.
Yep.
There were young men who were freshmen like you were. We started experiencing this in high school.
Bruh.
When we were sophomores, the sophomore girls wanted to date the juniors. When we got to juniors and seniors, they're dating 24-year-old men. When we get to college, a lot of men were seeing the same exact thing. They were going for the older guys that were in school, the guys that were out of school, or the small subset of men that was in the school that can get all the girls.
Super cool.
Right? And guess what? The guys that's left, they were bums for a while until they were able to develop and build themselves up.
So what we're seeing, a lot of men are seeing, there's a huge pool of men that don't qualify for you. You're not interested in them. You're not checking for them. You want the guy that's fun, that's charismatic, the other women also want. A lot of you did that. Not all, but many of you.
Look at the hate in her face, y'all. I'm sorry, I gotta pause again. The black shirt with the silver graphic letters. Look at the disdain in her face. You can tell that she knows that she feel like this. She knows she ain't giving majority of the guys a time of day. She knows she got a type. If you lame, she ain't looking at you. You can tell. The white shirt who was talking, you quiet. It's crickets in here. And don't get me wrong, they definitely give this guy a lot of respect when he's talking, because he's very, he carries himself very astute. But it's the truth, man. I done dealt with it, man. Back in high school, you probably was cool in your own lane, or you was nerdy in your own lane, or whatever lane you were in. It wasn't marketable to a large majority of females. That's why you have these guys that try and play these characters, man. Guys can't even be themselves. And I'm saying this in black community, can't be themselves in school because they trying to play a character to fit in and be cool, to be liked and wanted. And it's not just the women, it's with the guys too. Some in the black community, man, we got a weird culture when it comes down to how we have to carry ourselves to be accepted a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, every community does their bullying for sure. But with us, man, we take it to an extreme level when it comes down to the fashion and just the way how we have to act, the things we into, the way how we carry ourselves. But if you look at some of these other communities, it's okay to wear your shoes, not the freshest ones. If you wore Shaqs inside of your grade school, you probably gonna get clowned until February. You will get clowned if you rocking some Shaqs. But you got other cultures, you can have some bogos on and you'll be all right. You feel me? So let's continue.
Did that. So the first issue is a lot of men are reacting and responding based off of where they're getting accepted. Where they're getting accepted. You all don't know what it's like to not be accepted from 18 to 28.
Oh,
How you gonna say
What
that?
I mean by that is all of you will get attention from men. All of you will get pursued. All of you have been asked out. We are the pursuers. We're the initiators of asking and pursuing. So when you're the guy that keeps getting declined, or they're not even checking for you, I literally went to a wedding 2 years ago of a guy whose father won the lottery. Nobody knows about it. But because he's not the most handsome, charismatic, good-looking, fit dude, he only wanted to date black women. And none of them wanted him for his entire 20s.
Wow.
He ends up with a white woman. And everybody's now saying, see, that's all you wanted. And I'm gonna land. So the first issue is you got to acknowledge that not all, but many of the men, it's not even that they have to come from a place of being jaded and hating black women. They just go where they're accepted.
Exactly.
Number two, the standards. When Dr. Umar is saying that a lot of our women, because of trauma, because of their mothers or grandmothers talking about what they went through, and now you got to make your own money, and the guy got to make this and make sure that you this or that. Although that's coming from a place of love, that's also coming from a place of survivability and risk factors. And there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, and even now, when you go to a Chinese food store and you go in there to order your shrimp egg roll and whatever, who's at the counter and who's in the back cooking?
They're all related.
Yeah. They're all related. The men and the women working. How many people, not y'all in particular, but how many of our women are talking about he's not a real man unless he can afford blah, blah, blah. Unless he's making X amount. So while they're building together, your man has to come like a finished product.
Problem.
Hispanic community. If a lot of the men are doing construction work, working in the fields, working and doing labor jobs.
Still got a baddie at home.
Are there women, stereotypically, also working, cleaning units?
She working in the food truck.
Cleaning food, doing food trucks? So hold on, so she working.
Yeah.
The Asian woman working. The Hispanic woman working. And they working with their men.
With their men.
Either
for
directly
their men.
for their men or with their men. And there's a segment, not all of our women, but a lot of us are saying, our men need to be here. And then when you all get degrees and y'all start making y'all money, do y'all standards go up or down?
They go up. They go up 100%. I want to see what she has to say.
Hold on. Hear me out. I'm landing. If your standards, if you keep working and you keep making money and your standards are not going down but up, the pool of men that now meet that, it doesn't matter what his race is. The man that makes enough money that all the women in the world are saying they want, most of those men don't want to commit. They don't need to.
Exactly.
So that's the issue. When part of feminism in the quest of making more money and being sexually liberated is you got to pick who you wanted, you got to have sex with who you wanted, you get to have children with who you want. But the part not liberalism, but more so feminism left out is there's a consequence for that. So when you don't want to build, when you want to focus on only the small minority of guys, and your standard is going up over time,
you got to buy a dog and die alone. That is the consequence. You have to choose. You have to figure out exactly how you're going to be able to move into the position you want to be in, because you got a couple options. You either get on that guy program or you find somebody early that you can actually build through time with. But guess what? That pool, like you said, is going to get so small to where you're not going to be able to deal with anybody. So now you're just going to be on a carousel, possibly on a high level guy's roster that you're going to be getting hit a couple times a week, possibly.
You're going to fall into a scenario where your mindset is, if I'm not getting with the men that I want, it's got to only be because the men hate their women or because they hate us.
No, you're priced out of the market is what it is.
And that's what's happening. If you all look how you look now, I'm assuming that y'all all are ugly siblings. Y'all were all ugly ducklings 5 years ago. 10 years ago.
Still would have got a nigga though.
Yeah, you still would have got one.
They can still get one
So
now.
that's some of the things that are being communicated that I think maybe wasn't being totally factored in.
Okay.
That was well said. Real quick, John PPG thing in the chat. $300 donate to the show. $300. Listen.
While he doing that donation, I want to say something real quick, man. Before because I really want to hear her point, because it sounds like she had some, and I already know what she's probably gonna get at. She's gonna speak of guys not being men, the whole nine. But like he said, in a black school, I don't know this brother when he was in his prime, which he said. In a black school, he wouldn't clean up. Just being honest, he still wouldn't be that guy. But in a white school, this man said he cleaned up. He said his school was predominantly white. This man said he cleaned up. You can already tell they treat this man with a lot of respect. But when it comes down to giving that ass factor, he doesn't get it. I'm just being honest. He's probably not going to be that. Let me get that ass factor. You know what I'm saying? Because you could tell all these women have a certain type that they look for. See, it's these types of these archetypes of guys where you have to be this extra cool, extra swaggy nigga to compete with all these other guys. And a lot of guys don't even meet up to that. A lot of guys are average, man. A lot of us are average guys. Just being honest. You know, I'm not above anybody to say that I'm an average guy. So we don't compete with a lot of the stigmas that's out there, being over 6 foot, looking like a doggone basketball player and football player. And so you got a large majority of guys that can't compete with that. So those guys get overlooked for a while. But I will say this: I think the key is you get with someone that actually appreciates you. And for us, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Once you find that one, those are the ones you need to hold down. For all the other ones to the wayside, a lot of the time they're gonna just get chucked and effed a lot of the time. Not saying it's right, but that's what's gonna happen when they double back to that guy. It's gonna be that guy's time to shine now.
Nothing that I just said with those experiences, y'all choices and dating options, none of that was about we hate y'all. That was just your preferences, his options, who accepted them, and what the standards were for what's being asked of these guys as we're both getting older.
Wait, let her go, and then
honestly,
Alexei.
I lost.
No, go ahead. You go ahead, and then Alexei.
Go ahead.
I would prefer you guys use the word settle instead of go where you appreciate it. Because for us, it's the word settle is used. And we just go where we're
No, that's not the same.
saying-
No,
you're saying
that's not the same
settling for
thing,
the
though.
women?
No, when they were talking about the black and the white school.
Yeah, but that's not settling, though.
Well, let me explain to me what you mean by. Hold on. Let me explain to me what you mean by that.
We go as women, we go where we appreciate it, and they tell you, "Oh, you settled for this, you settled for that." But when the men go where they're
No, that's
it's
not.
called.
That's
go
not.
where
Hold on. That's
I
not.
see what you're saying.
No, but that's not what it is, though. Hold on. That's
Women never settle most of the time who are in those positions. They go to where they want to go. They not settling. When they try and say they going with a white man, they look at that as a come up, or whatever that rich guy is. They look at that always as a come up. See, the women usually now don't want to settle. They usually go where they want to be. Yeah, I don't understand her logic on that one. She asked backwards.
Hold on. That's not where. Hold on. That's not where you're accepted.
Hold on.
That's at the level that you can
let me just-
retain commitment.
Yeah, let me hear what you're saying. I'm saying, let me hear what she's saying. Go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
And she's just saying, like, if you, like, okay, I'm settling for, if you will tell a woman, in other words, she's just like saying, make the language equal for both sides. So if you're gonna say that a woman is gonna settle, like if I am with a white man because that's what likes me, you're gonna say, okay, you're settling for a white man. That's what she's trying to say. But if you say I'm going with a white woman because that's who likes me, they say go where you're appreciated. That's what she's trying to say. So she's saying you're settling for a white woman and I'm settling for a white man. We're settling for less, essentially.
No. It's not. Hold on. That's not the same thing, though.
I don't agree.
Okay, I kind of
it's not the same thing.
Can
I
I
don't
come
agree.
back to
I
it?
see what she's
Because it's gonna tie all this together, right? So the same way there is a pool of black men that are being overlooked, those same black men, there's a pool of black women that they're overlooking. Because let's be real. No, currently, let's be real. Most people like who don't like them, right? So you might be a 5, you looking at a 10. Let's be real. You can't be mad that all the 10s don't like you, but you're a 5. And there's probably a 5 looking at you, and you're not looking at
Dudes
them.
aren't mad at that, though. Dudes generally speaking aren't mad at that, though. They understand the game.
The problem is, in school, all the hot black girls didn't want us.
Exactly.
Back then.
But like, they're not
Mike
even
Jones,
hot no
though,
more.
we back now with some money.
now you have a
Now they
chance.
want us, but they can't get us.
But high school is not your home.
So
Exactly. Look how she looking like F you, nigga. You can see the hate in her heart. Yes, back in the day, you thought you was the baddie and you rejected all the guys. Now you're older and you still trying to be the baddie. And now you got the guys who have leveled up who wasn't cool back in the day. Now you just on a roster. And that's just being honest, man. It's not me trying to, put the thumb on women or put the foot on their neck. It's just the truth, man. But a lot of women don't see this until they get older. And then they I'm be honest, they never really gonna understand it because we just live a different existence. The amount of attention and the amount of covering they get from just being a woman, they never gonna understand the male's perspective because we just live a completely different life.
just
I know,
That sounds like insecurity.
So, hold on,
You need to go. You need to go heal your childhood wounds.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1
That's
second.
y'all
Hold on
reality.
1 second. Just about this piece of what you just brought up. This is the confusion when it comes to understanding the male experience
Exactly.
and the female experience when it comes to dating and relationships. Unless you all are virgins, and unless you all have never been in relationships before,
Oh shit.
you don't know what it's like when it comes to never being desired. What you learn and find out later on, after your teens and potentially your 20s, and how long it takes before you fall off, is that your options start to decline. There are men that never had options
To begin with.
This entirely different frame of reference.
Completely different.
You cannot take the super successful men and say that's the experience for most men.
That's not.
I am screaming at the top of my lungs and trying to tell y'all, there are dudes that when you came here, there were dudes that you walked past, there were dudes that serviced you, there were dudes that do all types of things that are invisible to you.
Exactly.
They're invisible to you. That's their life. Y'all start experiencing that when physical things start to decline.
Yeah.
When you start adding additional things in your life that are burdens for the next man.
Buying your own drinks. at the bar.
And you don't typically know. And you don't always typically know what the quote unquote invisibility factor is until you get older and you have to start buying your own drinks. So I've literally heard women have told me this in therapy sessions. You can look it up and go on YouTube and type in women being invisible. And you'll start to see the decline. The reason why it's so distressing to them is because they went from 18 or 16 to 35 or 40 before they started even experiencing that. Oh, people ain't asking me out as much.
It's not their norm.
And you know what's sad? For still a large majority of those females, they still getting attention. They still getting the drinks paid for. Asked out on dates. Bro, you still got 40. Bro, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I know a lot of 40-year-old women that feel like they're at the peak of their life. They at the peak. This is what they feel like in their heads because there's still so many guys. It's an influx of guys that's constantly trying to court them. Man, they ain't gonna never understand our existence, man. Just being honest. We just live a different reality. That's why, guys, you gotta focus on yourself. Be the best you can be to where you don't acquiesce to the nature of someone else. Move to the beat of your drum and secure whatever future you need to secure.
There's guys that was never a norm for them, ever.
Right.
So what I'm speaking to is there's a segment of men, some of them end up in anger and they lash out at black women. They use these podcasts and spaces to talk about how horrible women are. There's other men who go where they're appreciated. There's other men that go abroad. But what I'm saying is be very mindful and careful. If y'all don't want all of you to be viewed and seen in the negative light, in front all black women this, all black women that. I was in an interracial relationship. Y'all have been in interracial relationships. I don't assume that you hate the black community when you did. But there's assumption that when we do it, we do.
Facts.
Okay? So
only
the
if you're
male is-
desirable, though.
Yeah, so when we as men are hearing what y'all are saying, what we're trying to explain is some of the men that you're describing you're totally right. What you're saying, the settling, the hatred, the bigotry, the racism, there are men like that. I am doing life with men who have never in their life uttered negative words about black women. They just went damn near 40 years of their life where black women wasn't checking for them.
Been invisible.
So he has to keep waiting for this unicorn black woman that's going to look past what all the other black women didn't want. Or is he going to go
accepted.
where he's accepted?
Finally be accepted by the black
Dr. Umar
woman.
is saying, I'll phrase it this way. With me, use me as an example. When I was younger, making less, was even skinnier than I was now, do you think I had more options or less options?
Less options.
Less options. So that means the same, not just black, the same women, all races and cultures that wasn't checking for me.
Bruh.
When I started making a little bit more money, I got going in my career. I'm now spending my time with millionaires and on yachts and getting on helicopters and doing all sorts of stuff, and they're seeing it online. The very same women that would not go out with me, that I'm asking out, who look like you, are now wondering why he go with her?
Why we never went out?
Why we... Yo,
Because you ain't want to, stupid.
unless you think I don't have a memory, I distinctly remember asking you out. That is an experience, a lived experience that when y'all are framing this discussion, you got to remember that last piece.
And he just said being skinny. I'm gonna be honest. This come from a slender guy who's worked out and packed on some muscle or whatnot. Still, fairly slender. I've added muscle to the repertoire. Women don't like skinny guys. I've gotten shamed plenty of times for being thin, opposed to being a thicker, bigger guy. Bro, it is crazy. This is the end of it too. So we're gonna go and end it right here. This is recap session. Since we at the end of this podcast, man, with Fresh. I'm not gonna lie. This was that therapist, man. He definitely was cooking. But he's only speaking the reality of the regular guy, the average guy. he is an average guy that has bossed up and leveled up to where he's affluent, he's astute, he speaks very well, he's around high group individuals, and he can speak on the experience. And they sit down and listen because they're showing some form of respect. But this is the reality that of a majority of guys in America: black, white, all ethnicity groups that are just the average regular guy. And they wonder why a lot of these guys end up going dark or going cold, is because they go through the experience, and then once they get in the market to date, they just run through and they just go through and they just savage as many as they can possibly. They still have a coldness in their heart when it comes down to being jaded from the past, to where they don't want to lock in with any, and thankfully, sometimes when you can just be a regular guy and you can find someone that appreciates you, or you can go through that experience with that person, you don't have to deal with any of that, because sometimes when you do go through that as a guy, it can turn you into something for the worse sometimes. I'm not saying just going out here running through a whole bunch of chicks is going to be your best alternative, opposed to finding a chick that you can actually build with and appreciate and have a good family with. I'm a married man. I'm 34. I have a wife, kids. I met her after high school, the early phases of my college life. We went to high school together, and we just didn't know each other. But it wasn't you didn't like me. I was a bum. I wouldn't say I was a bum, but I didn't have anything, But I definitely was always working and always consistent. And she really liked me, man. She liked the way that I carried myself. She liked the way how I looked. She thought I was very attractive and whatnot, and it just worked, man. But in today's age, we're getting to a place to where dating is so chalk, man. It's chalk because another thing too, I was listening to something else. The way how we even want to have like sex immediately all the time, sometimes things need to be slightly sacred. But when people just giving it out constantly, first day, second day, very beginning, it's like, I know, okay, if you like somebody, yeah, you're gonna want the sexual urges. Of course, you should be exhibiting that you are attracted to the person for sure. But it's like, damn, man, we don't have no real, build up of anything. It's no build up. Everything just given up front. Everything is already in the forefront. You already see what the guy's making. You already know the lifestyle he lived. Like, there's no building and growing. There's no build up. Sometimes you need build up for things that hit a little bit different for you in life. And I just think that, man, that's just a big problem, man. I want to get y'all thoughts on this, because he was cooking. I'm not gonna lie. He was cooking with the olive suit on. You could tell this brother cut from a different generation with that olive suit on, man. He got on like a damn near like a Steve Harvey suit, because it's just cut different. You could tell it's a little bit bigger suit. But the lifestyle, man, a lot of women won't appreciate a guy like that a lot of the time. You can just tell that, the more urban community, the community that we all a part of, they're not going to appreciate a guy coming dressed like that or just being himself, man. You still have to play a character sometimes, and I hate that. And you don't want to, just don't be in a situation you got to play a character. And for the ladies out there who watching this, you want some advice, just be okay with getting with somebody that likes you more than you like them. But I feel like a lot of the time ladies want to be with somebody that they got to gawk over, they got to thirst over, and of course you should definitely be attracted to your guy. But if you find a guy that really appreciates you and really values you, take heed to that, to say, damn, man, somebody actually care about my crusty ass. I'm not saying you crusty, but it's like, really think about that, man. This dude like you in all your bad and worst times. You feel me? And I know y'all probably feel like, man, all guys are like that. Nah, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. This big bro right here, you will know if he really vibing with you the way how he want to invest in you and the way how he want to either meet your family, be around you. But y'all look at so many things as red flags that you really won't even allow a guy to do that and be that for you. So I'm gonna leave that right there. I don't want to talk y'all heads off. Make sure y'all like this make sure y'all watch this in its entirety. I'm gonna have a link in the description. Make sure y'all watch it. Make sure y'all support their channel, Freshandfit, which is the 305. I'm guessing this fresh thing. Make sure y'all support that. Make sure y'all like this video, comment below. This is your guy, JayBReacts. Until next time, peace.